Hello. On Thursday the 14th of April, two new change proposals will be released into the latest version of the Retail Energy Code. At this session, held on the 11th of April, we took stakeholders through a walkthrough of the impacts of the changes to be implemented. Please enjoy the recording.
But thank you all very much for taking the time out to join us this morning for this little drop-in session on the upcoming code release going into the REC this Thursday. My name's Paul Rock. I'm the head of communications within the Code Manager team, and I'm joined today by my colleague Fiona Murray, who is the REC release manager. A few bits of housekeeping before we do get started. We are recording the audio and the video from today's session for those who couldn't make it, so we can share that recording with industry stakeholders via the REC portal, and the recording will be published before the REC release goes live. I imagine probably either later today or more likely tomorrow. Our speakers, or our speaker, myself and Fiona, when she comes on, will keep their cameras on, but we kindly ask you to keep yours turned off. We want to make sure we have a stable online experience, so we're just protecting our bandwidth. We do want this to be an interactive event. If you have any questions at all that you wish to ask, there are a couple of ways to do so. The first way is just to stick your hands up on Teams, and I'll keep an eye out for any hands that are raised and interrupt Fiona at a suitable time. But if you'd rather not vocalize your question as well, you have the opportunity to raise your question, to document your question on Slido. To do that, you can visit slido.com and join our event space with the code 331377. That I did put in the meeting event chat this morning, but I'm just sharing that information in the event chat again now, so that you can get that code and visit Slido if you did want to ask a question in that way. Otherwise, I ask you to keep your microphones off unless you're asking a question, just to minimise the risk of any background noise, any children. I know it's Easter holidays now, so there might be kids running around. Hopefully not. But we'll take it as smoothly as possible. Are there any questions about any of the housekeeping that I did just ask? Anyone who may have joined late, who might have missed that start, who has any questions about the way the event's going to run?
Thank you.
Wonderful. You can see that Fiona has put the agenda on the screen, and I'm going to hand over to Fiona now, turn my own camera off. But as I said, if you've got any questions as we go through the event, just raise your hand or stick them on Slido, and I'll keep an eye out on the on both for any questions coming in, Fiona.
Thanks, Paul. So today, as Paul said, we're going to talk about the April 2022 release. In scope of this release, we have two approved change proposals. We have R28, which is the review of Category 3 documents in the REC baseline statement, and R34, the market stabilisation charge. So I'll go through and tell you a little bit more about those change proposals and what changes you are going to see as a result of that, including the setup of the REC portal, and then we'll go through to any questions. Paul has outlined how you'll be raising those questions. We will endeavour to answer those for you in a live environment. However, we don't have the answers here and now for you. We will take those away to get those answers for you, and they will feed into the FAQs, which will be published alongside the video. So for R28, a review of the REC baseline statement as a whole took place. It was identified that there were 7 products within the REC baseline statement that could, if had changes, have a material impact on REC parties and REC service users if they were to go through a change. So as a result of that, this change proposal will recategorise those 7 products to a Category 2 product. The reason for that, it will ensure that any future changes to those products will go through the appropriate impact assessment before any changes are implemented. On the screen now, you can see the 7 products that are going to be impacted and be recategorised as a Category 2. Also to note that the market domain data, MDD documents, or the file, will be renamed under this change proposal as meter product data. And the reason for that is the former SPA agreement, the term was used within the SPA and will not be transitioned to the REC, or has not been transitioned to the REC, I should say. As a result of these changes, the change management schedule will also be updated, and from the 14th of April, so this Thursday, you will see the updated change management schedule on the REC portal and the digital version on EMAR. Also included in this change proposal, we reviewed some of the category 3 products that may not require a formal oversight should a change occur. As a result of that, it was identified there were 9 products that wouldn't necessarily need to go through the formal category 3 change proposal. What that means is, should a change occur to those products, it wouldn't have any particular impact on you as REC parties. So what that means is they will be removed from the REC baseline statement. However, the products will still be available on the REC portal for you to view, and any changes to those products will continue to be communicated to relevant REC parties and stakeholders as and when those changes happen. So as you can see, the list of the 9 products on the slide now. So this slide pack will also be available on the REC portal under the REC release information page post this session. Also in scope of R28, there are some consequential changes, and you can find all of those changes in the final change report, which is on the change and release page of the REC portal. An example of one of those consequential changes relates to the interpretations and definitions schedule that outlines the changes to the electricity energy inquiry service API specification, outlining that it's moving from a category 3 to a category 2 document. So up in the top right hand corner, you've got 3 of the category 2 products that will be transitioned under this change proposal. It also outlines the new location of where they'll be stored on the REC portal. To access this location, if you go into your main page of the REC portal itself, and if you're already in the REC portal, you'll need to click on the dashboard. You'll then click on the REC documents link, which will take you to the REC documents page. Once in here, if you select the REC, and from Thursday, you won't see this yet. However, from Thursday, you'll see a new tab at the end called API Technical Specification. This is where the EES API Technical Specification will be held. The Performance Assurance Report Catalogue, also known as PARC, will be held in the Operational Documents tab, and the MDD products will be held under the Service Specification tab. For the new user guides, or should I say for the user guides that will no longer be listed in the REC baseline statement, a new page is being created in the REC documents page. Again, you won't see that there today, however, it will be there from Thursday. And you can see on the example on the screen now, you have user guides non-category 3 under the category 3 products. So those 9 products that will no longer be listed in the REC baseline statement will be placed here. We also have in scope R34, which relates to the market stabilisation charge. So the market stabilisation charge is a short-term intervention to help manage the risk to consumers around the market volatility. So it's currently due to expire on the 30th of September this year. There is the option for a decision to be made to extend the condition by up to 6 months, which will take us up to the end of March next year. There is also the option to remove it earlier if that is deemed necessary. The market stabilisation charge is being introduced via the modified SLC 24A. Under this standard licence condition, the gaining energy supplier will pay a charge to the losing supplier. The market stabilisation charge will only apply if the wholesale prices fall below that used to set the price cap in from April this year, and those parameters are being set by Ofgem. The charge itself will be a proportion of the economic loss of that losing supplier and will be based on the consumer's estimated annual consumption. Payments around the market stabilisation charge will be managed by the REC with RECO calculating any net credits, debits on all switches and the level set of charge set by Ofgem. So to support the market stabilisation charge, a new REC schedule is being introduced. That is Schedule 22, market stabilisation charge. It will be available on the REC portal from the 14th of April, so Thursday. There will also be a digital version on EMAR as well. On Thursday, what we will do is release a communication which will outline the links of where to find all of the products that have been updated for both R28 and R34. Following on from R34, we do have R35. It's a subsequent change proposal. That's providing it is approved and that is going through the change proposal process right now. It will be implemented on the 30th of June this year. What that's going to introduce is the governance and the charging arrangements that are needed to support the market stabilisation charge. So that's everything that's in scope of this particular release. And now I'll open it up to any questions. Does anybody have any questions regarding the two change proposals that are in scope of this release?
Nothing raised yet, Fiona. I'll give people an opportunity to do so. Just a question from me. I think it's an assumption from me, really. The second change there, the market stabilisation charge change. I guess it's more of a change to put the framework in place for the next stage for the market stabilisation charge to come. Is that right? It introduces the concept and provides the grounding on which the next stage and the next change proposal will give the detail.
Yeah, so the market stabilisation charge itself does go live on the 14th of April, and the Schedule 22 outlines all the information and criteria around that stabilisation charge. However, it is change proposal 35 that will put that governance and structure in place on how those charging arrangements will actually be applied.
It might be useful for people to know. It's not, we haven't quite sent out the comms yet, but we're imminently going to. There's going to be a REC event later this month. I'll confirm the date through a comms out to contract managers later on this week. But there's going to be an event on a market stabilisation charge walkthrough jointly held by the code manager and RECO, where we'll talk much more detail about what the impacts of the market stabilisation charge are on parties and how the REC will facilitate that as well. So please keep an eye out both on the portal news page and on your emails and through the REC weekly bulletin for that event.
It'll also be included in the Change Weekly Bulletin, just in case you're not registered for the REC Weekly Bulletin. However, if you do want to be registered for either bulletin and you aren't today, please raise a request. Where would you like them to send those requests through to, Paul?
They can email inquiries@repmanager.co.uk and we'll make sure you're added to the list if you're not already.
Thank you.
I still haven't had any questions, so I hope that means probably that everyone is fully aware of the impacts, but if there's still opportunities for you to raise your hand while you do, if you have the opportunity to as well, if you did want to visit the Slido button on the top of your page on Teams, or through the link that I sent earlier, you're able to give some feedback as well on whether you found this information in the session useful, and how you might like these events to run in future. So if you were able to just give 30 seconds just to let us know before you either before we close this or before you dial off, I would appreciate it. But please still feel free to raise your hands. We'll stick around for the next couple of minutes, and if anyone's got any questions they want to raise.
What I would say as well, if anybody does, after dialing off from this session, you think of a question later on, please do raise a service desk inquiry, and a member of the code manager team will be on hand to help you.
Absolutely. And as I mentioned, I'll be publishing the recording of this session within the next 24 hours as well. So feel free to access it via the rep portal, share it with your colleagues, and come back with us with any further questions you might have. But I don't think we're going to get any questions today, it looks like, Fiona. So I think it's probably worth bringing this one to an end. So thank you very much. As I said, if you were able to leave feedback, it'd be much appreciated. Otherwise, really hope you've enjoyed it, and look forward to speaking to you soon.